let's get this out of the way, shall we? You remember former President Barack Obama?
Yes.
He has been spending his time building houses with Habitat for Humanity. He has been leading the charge to provide assistance. No, I'm all joking about that.
No,
he's had a
that's Jimmy
deal.
Carter. That's Jimmy
a
Carter.
Netflix deal, and he's made a ton of cash. And do you remember how desperately important the TPP was for our pivot to? Well, that thing probably was. I think there was a dozen reasons why Hillary Clinton lost, but that certainly didn't help.
Oh, no, she was opposed to it. She said in the primary.
She was opposed to it, but
I'm joking.
No, I mean, I don't know if she was or wasn't, but she certainly came out and said she was opposed to it. But I mean, the fact that she had to say she was opposed to it was a function of Barack Obama continuing to push it in such a big way.
I do not believe she was opposed to it.
Well, I don't think it was ever going to pass. At that point, there was no way it was going to pass as of February. He should have dropped it much earlier, is my point. But be that as it may, there are a lot of other complaints I have with Barack Obama. But here he is. I bring up 2016 only because he does. Here he is, complaining about the voters not being into stuff in the way that he wants them to. Let's
I know why sometimes folks just get tired, and maybe they say, I'm not going to bother voting this time. But here's the thing, we can't afford to be tired. I remember in 2016, folks said, I'm not inspired. Obama was okay, but we didn't get everything I wanted, so I'm just going to sit it next time. And y'all know how that turned out.
Pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. Now here's the thing, okay? Obama's going to say nothing in this speech, but let's be clear. There are people at a rally. These people at the rally, they're voting. They're going to vote.
Yeah.
The people he's trying to reach. This is really just so much more about like him trying to reestablish the record in some way so that he is not responsible for anything, whatever. The point is he's not helping, it seems to me, with any of this, even on his own terms. The issue was that you didn't get everything you wanted with Barack Obama. I don't think that was quite the thing. I think there was a lot of things that people needed that they didn't get.
Don't you understand? They're just like children, right? They didn't get the candy and the cookie. And so now you're going to sit out of the whole election because of that? Tisk tisk.
Well, and think about who does get everything they want from a Obama administration, particularly during the financial crisis, et cetera. Like certain people got exactly what they wanted, and they also got exactly what they wanted out of this recent stuff with Biden.
But even if, here's the thing that I really find offensive about this. I think Barack Obama is absolutely right to say, you sat out 2016 election or whatever, you were disaffected, and look what happened. That part, I think, is an important element to try and getting people out to vote. You saw how bad Donald Trump was, and you didn't anticipate how bad things could get. But for that to be effective, he could say there were people who were dissatisfied after my term. And I understand that dissatisfaction. And I may or may not agree with it, and I may have a different sense of it, but that dissatisfaction was real. But we found out how much worse it could be. That's what Barack Obama says if what he is really concerned with is driving people out to vote. Every communications expert in the world will tell you that before you get to your ask, you better say, I understand what you're talking about. I am in the circle of trust. But he is alienating those people because he is trying to service his revision of history or whatever, his version of history. So just keep that in mind as you listen to him do this. He is, to the extent that he could be helpful, he is not being helpful because he's insisting insisting of litigating the way that people felt after his administration. Continue.
But here's the thing, we can't afford to be tired. I remember in 2016, folks said, I'm not inspired. Obama was okay, but we didn't get everything I wanted, so I'm just going to sit it next time. And y'all know how that turned out. That's what happens when you're not paying attention. That's what happens when you become complacent or you let your frustration lead to inaction. We cannot afford to be tired because of the young people here and the ones who are coming. I know it's hard. Phil doesn't claim he's going to solve every problem in New Jersey right away. I didn't solve every problem when I was president. But the fact is that as hard as it is, we can still make it better. It's hard to undo the legacy of discrimination that goes back centuries, but we can make it better. It's hard to deal with special interests who want to keep the status quo when you're trying to make the economy more fair and just, but you can make it better. It's hard in a big country where people disagree to get everybody moving in the same direction, but we can do better than we're doing. We really can. We can make it better. And when you've got the right person in the job, we might not get every single person employed, but we can get more people, more jobs. We may not get every child the best education in the world right here in Newark. We can give a lot more kids better education here in Newark. I didn't get every American health care, but boy, we got a whole lot more people in America health care. It makes a difference when we decide to make things better. When you've got somebody in your corner who's shown you that they will work for you, who has a track record of accomplishment. You got to go out there and work for them. Not because everything's going to suddenly be perfect, but because it's going to be better. And you're preventing others from making it worse.
Yeah, I mean, he could have saved everybody a lot of time and just written that down in a diary, or just like did that as a part of his pump up speech before he goes to work out in the morning. I mean, like the speech is for him and maybe for Hillary. I mean,
what a contrast to his early rhetoric too.
Right. Hope and change, except actually, voters weren't really paying attention. The reality is that a lot of voters were paying attention. You can say it's wrong to get disaffected, but they were wrong. Just because you can say it's wrong to be disaffected and still not vote because look at how bad things are. I don't think that's particularly inspirational. But the reality is that people were disaffected and disenchanted for a reason. And it's not helpful to chide and chastise, except for, if you want to, again, work backwards from your own narcissism.
It's better. Trust me. Look closer. Here's a microscope. Look, if you look really close at this little part here, we did it better.
I at one point he said, like, we can do better than getting everybody in the same direction as we are now. We can do better than we can do. And then he had to realize, like, wait a second, no, I'm arguing in favor of incumbents. No, we just better. I just think that there was a lot of people who were disillusioned with Obama's sort of rhetoric and had projected onto that rhetoric tangible things. And I guess my patience for his sort of, general rhetoric, better, make it better, more, somewhat more marginally better. He's going to have to do a little better than that. Let's put it that way.
But again, like it's exactly what we were talking about with, or what I mentioned with one of the Davids, I'm forgetting which one, about like this ivory tower sensibility here. I mean, the Obama does not see himself or like the consequences of what the Democratic Party does as, I think, directly correlated to the response of voters. He thinks it's like all part of, politics as cajoling people or manipulating them in a certain way, and it's it's like anti-populism and not right-wing populism, of course, but it's I mean, I hesitate to use the term elitist, but that's a lot of what it is.